Today, you're going to learn what an 80-year-old master Chinese chef cooks on a weeknight. An easy, healthy, 3-course dinner in under an hour. My kids can be picky eaters, and even they can't resist my dad's simple ensemble of noodles, chicken breast, and broccoli. Keep watching to learn how to make each dish in 20 minutes or less.
Dad, this is gonna get you millions of subscribers.
It is.
Hello， 朋友們，大家好啊！我哋又見面啦嚇。今日咧就應好多朋友話要我哋介紹啲小朋友食嘅餐，咁我咧今日咧就特別簡單咁介紹幾樣。第一個咧油鹽水西芥蘭花，就豉油皇炒麵，用啲乾麵。香煎雞胸肉，呢幾樣咧，小朋友好中意食香口嘢，嗰啲麵好嫩滑。西芥蘭花啦，咁嘅煮法咧就好健康又好味嚇。首先咧，譬如你煮一個餐又好，3個餐、4個餐都好，你都要先將所有嘅料備好晒先。西芥蘭花我就斬好晒佢，切好晒佢，備喺度。麵咧我就要先煮熟咗喺度擎乾水。然之後切啲配料調味料做好晒，啲雞咧又要切好晒、醃好晒擺喺度，咁樣咧你做嗰啲時候咧，你就按照個順序做咧，就好連貫咁做，好快脆。如果唔係你一個一個咁做完一個一個啦，咁你就等嘅時間又好長，比較係麻煩啲嘅。咁樣一齊準備好晒啲備好晒料咧，你就好快脆、好順治咁好做，好快脆啦。今日咧，首先咧啲西芥蘭花啦，我就鎖啲鹽水落去浸一浸佢先嗬，用2個茶匙嘅鹽水落去，呢個嘅鹽。
Washing vegetables with salt is a low-effort upgrade over just rinsing. Salt helps draw out water-soluble pesticides, and salt is also somewhat antimicrobial, although not as much as cooking.
浸嘅時候咧，個花就向下浸佢幾分鐘，然之後就留喺佢嚟切就得啦。但係個花嗰度咧，先至晾到啲殘，譬如話有啲蟲啊，或者冷過啲蟲蛋啊，或者咁消毒嘅喺面上，喺啲花度，個柄嗰度唔會有嘅，喺啲花面上啊，咁擺落去浸住佢嗬。
We'll let the broccoli soak as we start prepping our noodles. If you're only cooking the broccoli, use the video timestamps to skip ahead, or check out our recipe links in the description or at mayothlau.com for walkthroughs of the individual recipes.
乾麵咧要用啲煲啲滾水，然之後煮熟啲麵先，煮熟啲麵留起佢，先至晾乾咗咁就得啦。而家咧就先嚟煮熟啲麵先嗬。
To speed things up, we'll start boiling water in a pot or wok beforehand.
呢係滾水嚟嘅，我哋最大火嗬。煮麵嘅時候咧，啲水滾先擺落去嗬。呢啲咧乾麵嚟嘅，呢個就好健康，冇其他雜物落去啦。呢個麵咧，你又可以做湯麵又得，咩撈麵又咩都可以做，我哋做炒麵又得。
Chinese restaurants typically use fresh, unsteamed, thin chow mein noodles for this dish, like in our first video on soy sauce chow mein, but these noodles are not always readily available and have a limited shelf life. In this recipe, and for our cookbook research, I wanted to learn how my dad cooks chow mein with dried noodles. Not sponsored, but Sing Lin's Wumu brand has been my parents' favorite dried chow mein noodle as of the last year or so.
講到炒麵呢隻麵咧，就同我哋平時餐館做嗰啲麵咧唔同嘅。呢隻麵咧就冇其他嘅啲鹼水啊或者蛋啊其他嘢落去，但係呢啲麵餐館用嗰啲麵咧會硬啲嘅，呢隻麵咧就會軟滑啲嘅。
如果你揀乾麵咧，你點樣揀？
揀乾麵炒，你係咁話炒麵咧有啲嘅冇咁粗嘅嗰隻，好似我哋嗰啲冇咁粗嘅麵，好似我哋做湯麵咧粗啲都冇問題。呢隻都可以做得湯麵。
你咪揀呢啲嘢，因為係你煮俾細路仔定係？
冇錯。我即係一方面咧，一方面咧，呢隻麵係軟啲嘅，軟滑啲嘅細路仔會中意啲嘅。呢隻咧就軟滑啲，食起上嚟韌啲、軟滑啲。
The Chinese grocery store, there's many different kind of dry noodles.
Yeah.
So you have to see what is in the market, then you have to try, and then find the one you like the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Thank you, Maya. What did you make?
Broccoli,
Did
right?
you make salad?
Vegetable 啊
You want to give something to Yaya? I think they would love it.
Yeah.
And then there's one thing over
咩
there.
嘢嘢？咁嘅嘢嘢
Give
啫
it to Yaya?
！Wow! Thank you, Maya! Thank you!
Yeah.
We have broccoli!
Because 我哋用呢隻麵用咗幾耐喎，即係最近啫嗬，因為佢以前冇得賣，都係1年到啦。About 1 year. We use different kind of noodle before.
So is this your new favorite dried 魚咯。
可以咁講嘅，好似如果我哋做炒面嗰隻佢又 OK 啦。
Yeah, we try 2 or 3 kind already, different kind of noodle for chow mein. But a lot of Thai either too soft or too hot. For adult, it is okay, either too soft or too hot. But for the kid, you really have to know they like it or no. So this one is good.
滾水之後咧，我哋分散嘅擺落去，分散擺落去，擺落之後咧，你就俾筷子打散佢，煲滾咗之後咧，就閂慢火佢，煲佢3分鐘，再煲你認為啱你嘅口感啦，咁就 OK 啦。如果需要硬啲嘅，就時間少啲；你想佢腍啲嘅咧，就煲嘅時間就長少少。呢個乾麵嚇。
In total, our noodles cook for around 7 minutes, about 2 minutes before boiling, then about 4 minutes at low heat, and about 1 minute with the heat off. This will vary a lot depending on your noodles and stove, so just check the texture around the 5 or 6 minute mark.
滾啦，我就閂慢火佢，就得㗎啦。慢慢煲佢，要佢冚住起佢，焗一焗佢，冚住佢睇到佢滾咪得咯。做多5分鐘就得啦。
After bringing the noodles to a boil, lower the heat and cook for 4 to 5 minutes. My dad likes to cover the wok to speed things up, but you should only do this if you have a glass lid so you can monitor the boiling.
閂火，等佢焗一焗，興一興得啦，2分鐘就得㗎。
My dad likes to turn the heat completely off to dial in the perfect texture a little further. Next, we'll drain and rinse our noodles.
咁嘅時候咧，倒正嘅俾啲凍水沖佢，咁啊擺喺度停水就得啦。我哋倒咗佢啦嚇。
This is a trick my dad taught me, but especially if you have old plumbing, run cold water as you're pouring in hot water down the drain so it's less of a shock to the pipes. Once the noodles are drained, we're going to lift and spread the noodles out with chopsticks for about 1 to 2 minutes.
呢個麵就煮好啦，擺喺度停乾水佢，一陣間好嚟炒啦。
Next, we're going to peel and julienne half of a carrot, or about 2 ounces. Before slicing, here's a pro tip for safer knife work.
紅蘿蔔咧就切絲啦，一條條切絲嗬。咁樣咧切一刀先，咁樣擺平佢，然之後擺平，咁樣切咧就唔會喐嚟喐去啦。咁樣容易切咯，冇喐啦，
We're cutting about 1/4 inch slices.
咁打平佢，咁切得啦。
Then fan out the slices like a deck of cards and use the claw grip to work your way across the carrot slices to create 1/4 inch strips. For more on the claw grip, check out the link in our description for a free tutorial from our mini masterclass series. Next, we're going to julienne 1 stalk of celery, or about 2 ounces.
因為切絲嗬，係2個安士，咁一個切咗。
First, we're cutting the celery into 4 equal segments. Then, just like the carrot, cut 1/4 inch thick slices, then 1/4 inch thick strips. A typical soy sauce chow mein, like the one we posted a few years ago, uses crunchy vegetables like bean sprouts and green onions for aromatics. However, our kids, and kids in general, have more sensitive taste buds and usually find aromatics off-putting.
其實炒麵嘅材料嘅配料咧，你可以用加多啲芽菜啊，或者攞洋葱啊落去都冇問題。呢個時候炒麵就芽菜啊、洋葱啊咁。但係有好多我哋屋企小朋友點解唔食洋葱㗎？佢唔中意食洋葱㗎，所以我就唔俾啦。就反正我就冇肉俾落去嘅啲麵跟住咧切雞啦，我嚟煎嘅呢個雞咧係12個安士咁上下呢個雞胸肉。一塊雞胸肉，首先咧呢塊咧係直嘅，就會橫紋咁樣切呢個咧就直紋啦，呢個橫紋啦 ，OK。
The reason we want to identify and cut across the grain is because we are kind of pre-chewing tough muscle fibers by breaking them down, which results in more tender bites of chicken. If you cut parallel to the grain or muscle fibers, your knife does not break them down in advance, which leads to tougher bites of chicken that are harder to chew. This principle applies to lots of different meats and even vegetables like onions or celery.
咁樣切咧，點切法啦？首先咧打橫咁樣切，順切啦，睇到啲紋啦，一條條係咪？一條條紋，咁就所以我就咁樣橫切切橫紋咧，佢食起嚟佢就唔會硬，口感咧同直紋有啲唔同嘅呢個咧就可以咁直咁樣切呢個長得滯就剪咗佢可以直咁樣切
點解呢個可以？
因為佢啲紋係咁樣紋下邊嗰啲紋係直嘅，佢上邊嗰啲係橫㗎嘛，所以咪咁切咯，係嘛？Next,
we're going to tenderize the chicken, a very quick step that makes a massive difference as far as tenderness, juiciness, and evenly cooked chicken pieces.
切咗之後咧，又係我用個刀背嚟擠咗佢啦，咁煎起上嚟咧，佢就唔會縮得好犀利，而且佢又入味啲，醃起上嚟佢會入味
To To tenderize the pieces, work your way across both sides of each piece by hitting down the back spine of your knife. When you flip and repeat on the other side, orient the piece so that you're kind of hitting in a crisscross pattern.
你咁樣切兩邊咁啫，佢嚿肉咧咪散啲咯，就唔會黐實咯。嗱，你首先你明白啦，咁交叉嚟就咧，佢嚿肉嘅紋咧就散開啲。如果你兩邊係咁順咧，佢就一直係咁樣。係咁樣順嘅，但係我咁樣嘅咧，佢就兩邊嗱咁樣，一直係咁樣，隨你上邊就反正就係咁樣交叉啊，睇啦，呢邊就係咁長啦，咁但係下邊點咧？下邊咧你就咁樣反轉掉唔同啦喎，咁樣啦。
This crisscross tenderizing technique is doing a lot all at once. 1, it further weakens the muscle fibers, making them easier to chew. 2, it flattens the pieces, leading to a shorter cooking time, which allows the chicken to retain more juiciness. 3, the tenderizing rapidly accelerates the marinating process.
咁就係啦，就醃一醃佢啦。凡係煮餐咧，備料嘅時間就好長，但係炒煮熟嘅時候咧就比較短啲啦。你備好晒料嘅時候咧，煮就好快，一順住咁你一齊煮晒出嚟，係嘛？如果你一個煮完蒸一個，前邊嗰啲咪全部凍晒咯，係嘛？所以咁樣就快好多啦。
How do you prevent it from coming out rubbery?
呢方面你講嘅醃嘅時候啦，呢個刀背咁樣整嚇，鬆咗啲紋啊嘛。咁然之後我就開翻啲汁，有啲生粉啊咁樣，佢入邊都鬆咗啲紋就吸收入我啲味料，個味料有生粉喺度啊嘛，咁佢咪熟晒入去咯。佢又我煎嘅時候一煎完，嗰啲生粉熟咗啦嘛，生粉熟咗咪 keep 住嗰啲肉咯，吸住啲肉紋咯。佢就話：如果你唔冇咁好似我咁醃法啦。你直成個切好就咁醃擺落去煎咧，食咗嚟就腍。醃料咧就好簡單嘅啫。
For the chicken marinade, we're using a tablespoon of oyster sauce, a dash of garlic salt, a tablespoon of cornstarch, a tablespoon of water, and a teaspoon of sugar.
啲攪勻嘅嗬，攪勻啲粉佢，雞肉攞晒落嚟，將啲攞來啲粉撈勻佢，啲味撈勻佢，等佢再冧少少乾粉就啲乾粉就可以煎得㗎啦。再煎嘅時候咧，就冧嗰少生粉喺面，咁就可以煎得㗎啦。呢啲蒜頭咧，就攞嚟煮西芥蘭㗎，煮西芥蘭㗎，睇佢。
For the broccoli, my dad's about to do something really subtle and unique with the garlic, which will really elevate the flavor of the final dish.
切芥蘭啦，嗱，呢個西芥蘭係一磅加一磅喺度嚇。
One of my dad's fundamental rules for cutting broccoli is to never cut through the florets, only through the stems.
咁樣切咧，啲花咧唔會散啊嘛。如果你咁樣切咧，切落去咧，啲花咪散晒咯。煮出嘅時候咧，佢咪嗰啲咪好多啲濕粒喺度啦。嗱，切呢個餅佢，芥蘭咧唔好咁切喎，唔好咁樣切落去，唔好咁樣切。喺個餅度切，唔好切整啲花，唔好切啲花度去，知嘛？
My dad also cuts away more of the stem than usual when cooking for kids, since stems contain more of the sharp and bitter taste compounds.
啲細路仔係中意花多個餅，知道嘛？切個餅出嚟，唔好切啲花切啲花度咧，煮出嚟嗱，唔好乾淨。如果你大咁切落去咧，就個砧板就好邋遢啦，係嘛？咁啊好乾淨，係嘛？啲大個㗎，你咪佢又喺個餅度切佢咯。有啲大個㗎，好似呢個喺個餅度開住咗佢。好。
When splitting bigger pieces, just cut through the stem and then pry the two pieces apart.
準備基本上就準備好晒啦。而家仲做咩咧？搞佢呢個炒麵個汁。
For the noodle sauce, we're using 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce, a tablespoon of light soy sauce, a tablespoon of oyster sauce, 2 teaspoons of sugar, a teaspoon of chicken bouillon, and a tablespoon of water.
咁將呢個sauce攪勻佢。
老抽有咩做？
老抽豉油黃炒麵係要用老抽做嘅，佢比帶黑帶金黃黑咁個豉油黃，所以豉油黃炒麵就係用老抽做嘅，佢顏色係深啲嘅。老抽咧佢會帶少少甜嘅，唔係好似生抽嘅，生抽就鹹同埋鮮鹹。老抽咧佢就帶有啲甜，你自己可以咁樣試得到㗎，試下佢味，好味啊！味咗好晒。
The hallmarks of great chow mein are that there are no clumps of noodles and that the flavors are distributed evenly. So this next step is very important.
之前咧呢個麵咧，我燒油上去，我燒油去撈勻佢，咁炒起上嚟嘅時候咧，佢就唔會黐埋啦，佢會散啲，容易炒啲。好落嚟，我只要留啲油撈佢，因為呢個湯匙咁上下油啦，撈佢。
After adding a tablespoon of oil to the noodles, my dad uses chopsticks to lift and thoroughly mix the oil in for about 30 seconds.
咁散晒啦，係嘛？咁好容易散啦。如果唔係咧，佢就黐埋啦。
Okay, how do you prevent chow mein from being too oily?
你好似我咁頭先整好咗面之後咧，就落啲油落去撈過先煮啊嘛。咁你再煮嘅時候，咪唔使咁多油咯。你佢本身咧，佢就啲面已經唔再黐埋啦嘛。煮嘅時候咧，係咁俾筷子撩開佢就 OK， 咁咪煎香就得啦，唔使咁多油咯。煎香咗兩邊煎香佢。如果你唔撈過唔俾啲先一邊啲油撈過啲面咧，你就要俾好多油喺個鑊度先至撈得噶嘛。你首先撈起佢散咗啲面落，你煮嗰時候咪唔使咁多油咯。
At this point, we finish all of our prep, and my dad will teach us how to cook these 3 dishes in the most efficient way and optimal order possible. Before we move on, I want to thank today's sponsor, Function Health. After doing some testing with them, I thought I was healthy, but now I realize that I'm kind of wrong. If you're not a Huberman husband like me and haven't heard of Function Health, it allows you to test over 100 biomarkers to gauge the health of your heart, hormones, stress, toxins, inflammation. You can also get MRIs and CT scans, and it's all tracked in one place so you can see your progress over time. It's built with some of the world's top doctors like Mark Hyman, Jeremy London, and of course, Andrew Huberman. Next month, I'll get my full suite of test results, which I'll share in another video. But while I am proud to say that my biological age is 8.5 years younger than my calendar age, I do have a lot to work on, especially around my heart health. That is surprising because I put a lot of work into being healthy. I work out every day, I track my macros and fiber intake, and I've cut out drinks and sweets from my diet for over a year now. Function Health is currently $365 a year, or about $1 per day, for tests that would otherwise cost over $10,000. And I think the investment is worth finding some of your blind spots that might be preventing you from living a longer life. So you can learn more and join using our link. The first 1,000 people get a $25 credit towards the membership. Be sure to use the gift code MINWITHLAU25 at sign up to support our channel.
好啦，朋友們，料就備齊啦，而家就準備開火煮嘢，3個一齊煮呵。先做呢個豉油黃炒麵先呵。
你點解決定煮呢個先？
因為豉油黃炒麵煮開擺喺度，佢唔會點樣變嘅。佢亦如果冚熱啲，擺耐啲，佢都唔會話變質嘅。如果啲西芥蘭煮咗擺喺度咧，佢又會容易變凍咗就變咗黃色嚇。呢個咧可以擺耐啲都得。如果你臨到食嗰時覺得佢凍，可以放埋個位整翻熱佢，可以擺時間長啲，係嘛？好啦，而家開始開火，開到最大火，雞最收尾煎好啲雞，跟住食飯啊嘛，係啊！啲雞一煎好佢香脆啊嘛，係咪？你擺得耐時間，啲雞擺得耐時間咧長咧，佢就變咗就冇咁香脆咯，係嘛？
點解唔係西芥蘭係最尾？
因為西芥蘭咧就擺時間可以擺長時間啲，係嘛？
係咪因為你煎嗰啲，你一即刻煎係應該即刻食啊？
一煎好食嘅時候咧，趁熱食嘅時候咧，雞咧就會香脆啲啊嘛。你啲煎好啲雞擺時間長咧，佢就變咗冇咁香脆咯，明白嗎？係咪咁道理啦？好鑊咧，一定燒到好鑊，見到個底下係咁藍色㗎啦。好啦，我而家閂翻慢火先嚇，一慢火俾油，一個湯匙多啲油咧落去，啷隻鑊，啷埋嗰啲油。好啦，而家咧將啲麵擺落嚟，啲麵咧就擺落時候擺散佢嗬。將我俾筷子幫我爬散佢。中火。
As with most stir-fried noodles or rice, we'll want to let the noodles sit for a bit before flipping. The only thing we're doing is spreading them out so there's more surface area that's getting seared.
你係咪即刻搞啊？
擺晒佢先得啊！你個擺咪成嚿喺度咯。
After about 30 to 40 seconds, we'll start flipping the noodles. It's helpful to use both a spatula and chopsticks here. Once flipped, we'll also let this side sear for 30 to 40 seconds, spreading the noodles out again.
煎到黃色啦，再爬翻開佢。開大啲唔得，頭先個鑊興咗啦嘛，而家開翻大火，咧，跟住燒點就佢夠熱啦，就可以慢慢再煎佢，就啦聲啦嚇，突咗個鑊。咁燒鑊邊，等個邊興個邊，周圍都有個呢係個鑊咧，就係燒中間啲咩即唔同。餐館啲鑊，餐館啲火就飆上嚟啊嘛。而家呢度咧就係咁慢慢㗎，
This tilting technique is a subtle adjustment you can make if you're using a gas stove. Otherwise, stirring does the job just fine. Just be mindful that the center of the wok is the hottest.
放翻轉佢，好啦，煎香咗啦係嘛？睇到差唔多煎到差唔多啦。
Before adding the celery, we'll nudge the noodles away from the center of the wok, opening up the central surface of the wok to place the celery into for a more effective sear.
喺呢中間嗰度中間指佢，走佢。啲紅蘿蔔生都可以食嘅嘛，我對西芹都可以生食，得啦。OK， 睇煎到啦，得啦。
After about a minute, scoot the noodles to the side to make space for the carrots. You want to add the carrots directly onto the wok, not the noodles.
俾埋紅蘿蔔嚟睇下啦。仲有一個啦，你可以預先將嗰啲紅蘿蔔同埋啲西芹俾水灼熟佢先又得。如果你唔想爛啲咧，就係咁樣又得。
After adding the carrots to the side, we're going to bury the carrots with the noodles, trapping them between the heat of the wok and the noodles.
煎到而家咧就得㗎啦，閂慢火佢，俾啲調味料落。 俾調味料嘅時候咧，一邊俾一邊撈佢嗬。
We'll gradually pour in the sauce in batches as we lift and stir the noodles with chopsticks. You don't necessarily need to add all of the sauce if it seems like the color and taste are to your liking.
差唔多啦，試下味，得㗎。
Oh my god！ 哇，
得啦，真係
好靚！Oh my god！
好熱啊！嗱，你自己食，你自己食。
係。
好食嘛
！Oh my god！OK， 好食啊！再食。
真係好食。
Wow！
好食啊
All hot！ Real good！
好啦，朋友們，個麵就整好咗啦，開始上喎，上整佢。豉油黃炒麵做好咗啦，佢有佢嘅特別風味啊！細路仔、小朋友，我諗仲中意食呢個乾麵，因為佢軟滑，嗰隻濕麵咧就煮出嚟硬香硬啲。小朋友或者老人家都中意食佢。
Alright, now let's try some noodles, okay?
Noodles.
Noodles! Noodles! What do you think, Juju?
Yes. 100 out of 100.
Oh!
No, 200 out of 100.
Next, we'll move on to cooking the broccoli with a technique I've never seen before, a pretty cool alternative to oil-based wok hei.
好，朋友們，而家跟住照個油鹽水煮西蘭花，好啦，而家開火，開大火，俾一個湯匙嘅油上去，然後俾啲蒜頭，上粒蒜頭，炸爆香啲蒜頭先。
We'll let the garlic cook and bloom for about 30 seconds until we can start to smell them, then turn the heat down to low.
蒜蓉高咗，慢火。
This next part is the key to infusing broccoli with more flavor.
將個水倒落去，呢啲係熱滾水嚟㗎咁樣做嘅話咧，就等嗰啲煲緊嗰啲水有個鑊氣，有個香，有啲蒜頭，好似炒西蘭咁個味道喺度。但係佢又唔係經過炒，係油鹽水嚟煮熟嗰啲西蘭花啦。嗱，等啲蒜頭爆先，我就俾個茶匙嘅鹽上去，咁咧就叫做油鹽水煮西芥蘭啦。你通常咧好多時候咧煲滾水，直情煲滾俾油鹽落去，個做法咧同呢個咧就有少少分別。咁樣咧食起上嚟咧，個西蘭花就會香啲。
Do this.
How do you make broccoli more flavorful?
Oh.
首先頭先咪做俾你睇，俾啲油鹽水漂嗰啲芥蘭，佢就會青綠㗎嘛。係咪？咁再有啲鹽，佢咪更加青綠，有啲味咯。再留起上嚟，又俾啲蠔油落去，咁佢咪好味咯。佢又唔爛又唔黃色。好啦，而家滾水之後咧，倒啲西蘭落去。着水嘅時候咧，最好啦，就等啲水滾水能夠浸過啲西蘭，咁樣咧就快脆啲熟。快脆啲熟嘅時候咧，佢就青綠啲，等住佢滾就 OK 啦。
Once it comes to a boil, we'll let it continue cooking for 2 to 3 minutes until the broccoli turns a vibrant green. In general, when blanching anything, my dad likes to speed up the cooking time by using more water.
滾啦，啲水已經滾到擺落去，咁跟住你嘅幾青綠，你睇青青綠綠。如果咧大人咧、青年人、後生仔女啲食咧就夠啦，爽啦。但係如果小朋友同埋老人家食嘅咧，就煮多1-2分鐘得啦。
When you make broccoli for your grandkids, how do you do it differently than you would
通常咧就餐館亦都冇咁樣做嘅。屋企啲人都唔會又好似我咁做嘅。屋企最多都係俾啲滾水落，俾啲油落去，先俾油落去咁樣。佢唔好似我咁燒熱隻鑊，俾油落去，咁炸啲聲炸呢啲落起出嚟啊！咁煮都戒得出嚟，咪好食咯。
But like, how do you make it so kids like it more?
因為我哋知道佢中意食乜嘢。
你平時要觀察佢食啲乜嘢，中意點樣食嘅。因為我哋多一齊同佢細路仔一齊孫一齊食飯啊嘛，我咪知道佢食咩咯，係咪？
係啊，因為每個細蚊仔都
每個
taste 都唔同啊。
每個家庭嘅每個細路仔佢食嘢嗰個味道有啲唔同嘅，知唔知？你好似妹妹同紅多食嘢，佢有啲唔同啦，有啲唔同啦，係嘛？
我覺得我哋呢個世界人咧係 keep green and very soft. When you make this kind, they really like it.
你只可以搣一搣佢，覺得佢夠啦就得啦。嗱，兩邊都入㗎啦。OK， 燈火，我哋撈個過嚟，撈個俾啲少少凍水喺度，攞個水佢，咁佢就更加青綠啦。整嗰度凍水，攞個過嚟，嗰個凍水佢就更加青青綠綠啦。啊，你試下，你哋試下，試下。係咪香味啊？係咪唔同味啊？係咪同我平時煮嗰啲唔同嘅味道啊？
又係多啲味啊！
多啲味係咪？
但係你未加
未俾蠔油啊？做收尾先你俾蠔油啊。OK， 好啦，留起佢，唔會太硬啊嘛。小朋友同埋老人家食最好噶啦，因為我哋嘅視頻係講俾小朋友噶嘛。我哋俾個湯匙嘅蠔油上去啦。食嘅時候咧撈勻佢就 OK 啦，撈勻得啦，唔使就咁多，唔使撈。
We don't always do this as these taste great even without oyster sauce, but it's great for extra flavor.
食嘅時候撈得啦，咁樣好睇嚇。朋友們，油鹽水細撚法有辣。
Now we're gonna try the broccoli, okay?
Dad, this is gonna get you millions of subscribers.
It is. We're gonna have.
Too hot? Okay, put it down.
Like you said, we gotta try it next day, okay?
Homjoy, come here.
你哋冇筷子喎。
可以做啦。OK， 唔該食就係啊。
Oh yeah!
Cameron, how many thumbs up is it for you?
5.
5 thumbs up.
You say
That's 100 thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
you need to do thumbs up, more thumbs up.
而家咧就開始煎呢個雞胸肉啦。煎之前咧，我就落少少乾粉，淋咗乾粉先嚇。咁煎起上嚟咧，佢會香脆啲嘅皮嗬。咁你俾一個湯匙乾粉上去，咁個湯匙多啲唔多 ？OK。咁煎起上嚟咧，佢皮就會香脆啲啦。
One by one, we're transferring the chicken breast pieces and coating both sides in a thin layer of cornstarch. Notice how my dad makes a pile of finished pieces as he works through it, then moves the pile towards the end to use up the cornstarch underneath the pile.
咁淋咗粉之後咧，我就可以煎㗎啦嚇。燒鑊，開火，開到大火。
A note that if you're following along with multiple dishes at once, you'll need to quickly wash and wipe the wok down between dishes. Skipping soap is fine for these intermediate washes.
你用過咧，一定要洗下佢。如果你唔洗佢咧，佢就會黐鑊。如果要炒嗰啲鹹味嗰啲生滾水咧，如果你俾油會黐鑊，一定要洗過佢。
所以你係咪用番梘？
唔使就唔用番梘都得，就咁俾水洗過就得啦。好啦，燒咗咁樣就翻慢火嚟睇佢中間夠熱啦。好啦，我就俾2個湯匙嘅油上去 ，OK， 啷咗鑊佢。
Okay, how do you prevent chicken breast from being too dry? Oh my gosh, Cam just grabbed a broccoli on his own.
Go, Cam. I love these.
You hold it by yourself.
Good.
Ah.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Show your muscles, dude.
Yeah.
No, you do.
Don't work like that. This is the ultimate.
Wow, 呢個真係 break power。
Yeah, how do you prevent chicken breast from being too dry?
煎雞胸肉嘅時候咧，你又唔好太過慢火，太過慢火咧，佢慢慢嗰啲入邊嗰啲汁就流晒出嚟啦。係，要快，開頭要快啲，你煎開佢兩邊封住佢入邊啲汁喺入邊，唔好慢火煎。凡係炸嘢煎嘢開頭咧要猛火，猛火啲先收慢，佢啲皮要快脆啲收縮咗，包住嗰啲汁喺入邊。
You're gonna do it? No, we cannot put Daddy's iPad.
3慢火嘅中火得啦，中火我哋一片片咁擺落去一片片咁擺落去，擺落去之後咧，我就擺佢中間，擺到中間之後咧就擺喺邊，擺喺個邊先
Since transferring each piece will take about 1 to 2 minutes in total, we can take advantage of the wok's unique shape by first placing the chicken in the middle, then to the sides. This way, all of the pieces can cook more evenly since the wok is hottest in the middle and cooler at the edges.
點解咁樣做啊？
因為啲油中間就會熱啲噶嘛，咁你咪擺咗落去之後咧，就總去邊，咁慢慢都會熟，中間會熱啲噶嘛，捧佢上去。
Also, the oil pools at the bottom of the wok, so we're briefly shallow frying each piece before scooting it to the sides. As my dad normally does with stir-fried or pan-fried meats, he opens with slightly lower heat, then increases it after the meat has been added.
大火少少，
你搞嗰陣時係慢火。
然後開猛火就開翻慢火，開翻慢火之後咧，就而家開翻中火。
Again, notice how my dad adds new pieces to the center of the wok, then scoots them to the side after a few seconds.
呢種做法咧就唔使好似油炸咁去翻炸㗎就咁煎香兩邊煎香就得啦。如果係用炸嘅方法咧，就要翻炸啦。
Now that all the pieces are in the wok, we'll turn the heat to low and start to flip the first 2 pieces of chicken that we added. If you lost track, you can look for pieces that are less pink.
睇到啦，開頭擺落去已經係夠啦。開頭擺落去嗰啲三文火佢。
After flipping, adding more oil is important in developing a crispier crust. We're aiming to sear each piece for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. Since the timing is so staggered, here's what my dad looks for.
睇到㗎嘛？
點樣決定反轉啊？你睇咩啊？
一邊睇到佢轉黃色啊嘛，佢個底頂掀起我得啦。睇到一擺落去，睇到佢面嘅邊會轉色，喺度擺落個邊，俾落嘅時候個擺會轉色㗎嘛。
Okay, how do you not overcook chicken breast?
煎嘅時候睇到佢底下一邊係佢開頭唔係變白㗎嘛，開頭煎嘅時候佢一轉白咗之後咧佢就底下佢就開始轉黃啦，煎咁咪反翻轉佢咯。人哋開頭就
So beautiful.
有時你要呢個筷子撩佢睇佢。
Look at it. It's so
That
beautiful.
does look beautiful.
即係先係猛火，然後先至轉慢火。
猛火轉慢火。
係咩嘅時候轉慢火？
擺咗落去一陣間，你就可以轉慢。
用就係唔好將啲汁流晒出嚟，咁個雞肉就係軟啦。
你燒嘢、炸嘢、燒叉燒又好，燒咩都，你唔好慢火，猛火俾落去。我燒叉燒開佢焗爐開到425度，開就夠猛火啦，先至擺啲叉燒肉落去。佢一陣間佢就會熟啊嘛，熟咁咪收緊啲汁喺入邊咯，係嘛？
The goal it is you have to keep the juice inside the meat, their own juice as much as you can. Then let's dry.
如果得啦，就變白色咯。
你係咪淨係反轉一次定係反幾次啊？
一次大概係1次至2次啦。
Also notice how my dad is shuffling pieces between the center and the edges.
你要喐住佢，因為佢哋嘅中間嗰度嘅火係多啲夠力啲嘅，啲油集中喺中間啊嘛。如果平底鑊咧，煎青咧就唔需要好似我就一件咁喐住佢啦。平底鑊咧就容易煎啲。
Once all the pieces are about done, scoot the chicken to form a perimeter along the wok, turn the heat off, and let the oil drain downwards.
整開佢，擺喺個邊，擎油佢。睇到嘛？好啦，轉咗之後咧，就可以夾佢上嚟啦。如果老濕加燒，轉啲鹽上就得㗎啦，好少就得㗎啦。OK，搞掂。夠細嚿啦。
哇！
佢
Oh my god！好似炸雞咁。
好似差唔多好似炸咁嘛，好似炸咁嘛。
哦
好啦，朋友們，香煎雞香肉做好咗，希望大家中意。
Try it, and then if you like it, give 2 thumbs up. Okay.
Okay. Is it 2 thumbs up?
Okay.
Is it too hot?
OK，唔識食緊。
Yeah, if it's really good like that.
What?
2 thumbs up, Maya.
2 thumbs up. You like it?
Want help? Mama help.
OK，今日
Ready? Gotta wiggle.
Oh yeah! Oh my goodness!
5 thumbs up for me.
Is it yummy?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yummy!
Say
You
yummy,
guys
yeah?
say hosek.
Also.
好唔好食？好食，係咪？
Okay.
Good job.
Hello，朋友們。 嗱，今日重點介紹呢3樣餸，就油鹽水仔細嘅撚，就豉油黃炒麵係用乾麵做嘅，就香煎雞香肉啦，就好香口嘅。小朋友我諗會爭住食啦，希望大家中意嚇。
Would you give Yaya A+?
Yeah, you're the master.
Yaya?
Oh my gosh, Cam.
You like that?
Dada.
Yes, Dada and Yaya.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yaya.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. You're the
You're the
best!
best.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
To say yeah, yeah,